Welcome again, Archie, to the welcome to the Art of Letting Go Zoom room for another live session. So, as usual, let's dive into our quote for today, which is about forgiveness is the highest form of love, and that will lead us into our lesson. It's a review lesson today, which is all about forgiveness. So, we're just revisiting an old theme, really. Okay, so let's just share my screen with you. Okay, sorry, it's taking a bit of time. Should be coming now. Screen share. And there we go. Can you see that?
Yes. Well, yes. Yeah.
Good. Okay, so if you want to kick it off with the quote by Robert Muller.
Yeah. To forgive is the highest, most beautiful form of love. In return, you will receive untold peace and happiness.
Yeah, nice one by a German-born British screenwriter called Robert Muller. Just talking about the great gifts that forgiveness brings from the most beautiful form of love, which is called agape or divine love. So this is a love that's unconditional. It means that it's given irrespective of a person's personality, their worldly role, what they've done, what they haven't done in this world. And as a result, it's the rarest kind of love because it's the hardest. To completely unconditionally love someone means you have to be awakened. You have to let go of all of the ego's judgments, all of its distinctions that your ego likes to make around these personality traits, worldly roles, what you've done, what you haven't done. And so it denies all specialness, which is obviously what the ego or the separate self wants to make of every relationship and situation to confirm the illusion of its separate identity. If you're special, if someone else is special, then you must be special, then you must be separate. That's the simple logic. So unconditional love is very dangerous to specialness because it denies that specialness exists. It denies separation exists, which is why it's so rare. The ego's version of love is called special love. It's a love that's conditional. I love you provided you do this and this and this, and you meet my conditions for love. And if you don't meet those conditions, then my love is withdrawn. That's special love. So the way to feel this unconditional love is simple. You've got to let go of every thought and emotion that's special, that blocks your awareness of it. That's what forgiveness is. These blocks to the awareness of love's presence, as Yeshua calls them in the introduction to the text, that can be sin, guilt, fear, anger, sadness, any negative thought or emotion that denies or negates love. These are all that stand between you and the experience of unconditional love. It's just an idea. It's just a thought. Oh, there's Kim.
Interestingly, Jonathan, why use the word specialness there and not just saying, conditional?
That's the course's terminology. So
Okay.
that's the way it's framed in the course special. special love relationships versus holy love.
Okay.
I think that it's quite a good use of the word, because it makes us realize that whenever we're making someone or something special to us, that we're indulging in separation.
Yeah.
As
Okay.
soon as it's special and we distinguish it from other people, things, places, circumstances, then there's a specialness to it that makes us seemingly special as well. You see, that's how it works. So I'm special because I have a special person in my life, and I have a special family, and I have special interests and special hobbies and so on, and activities that I like doing. And all of that distinguishes me from someone else who doesn't have that set of people, relationships, circumstances, preferences in their life. And it's so normal in human life. If, unless you really
Yeah.
look and willing to question it, you go, but that's just how it is, right? Everyone is different. Everyone does have their own interests, and surely that's normal. That's just how it is, and that's
But
how
yeah, and
it
you
should be.
do like some people more than you like others as
Yeah.
well. Sort of it doesn't mean that you don't, love other people, but I'm just thinking of my own family, for example. I'm very close to my sister.
Yeah.
And I would regard her as being special, for us to have a special relationship. So yeah, that was just interesting.
So that's how it works. So
Yeah.
if your sister, let's say, dies,
Hmm.
then you're going to be devastated. If some random person living in the village dies, you're not really going to bother,
Yeah.
because you've got a special relationship with her and not with that other
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
That's what he's trying to say. So that special relationship now becomes a part of your special identity, and it defines you, which is the purpose of the special relationship in the ego size, is to do that. But that blocks this unconditional love that simply sees that everyone and everything is the same awareness, and there really are no differences and no distinctions to be made. Those are all illusory. So it's a very, very high state of mind. To unconditionally love means that you're awakened, you're enlightened.
Yeah.
Only enlightened beings can do it. But
Yeah.
while we're learning that, we can try. And the trying is the forgiveness. So, okay, yeah, I know that I've got a block. I know that I'm judging that person as less than worthy of love. I can see that, but I'm willing to correct it. I'm willing to let it go and find that peace of God that surpasses all understanding. Find this clear, clean awareness that unconditional love brings, where you're not holding anything against that person. Whatever they've said or done, whatever their personality is, none of that matters in that awareness. That doesn't mean that you're going to spend time necessarily with them, you're going to hang out with them, you become best friends with them. That's not what the Course is saying. Because on an ego level, they might still be quite toxic. They might be a very, very difficult person to hang around. So, you can go, okay, like, I don't have to hang around that person. But in my mind, can I find that awareness? Can I find that clean, clear, aware state when I think about them, rather than a grievance?
Yeah.
And that transformation from the grievance to that clean, clear awareness is the miracle. Where that's where we really shift. And that's where we learn the benefit of unconditional love, because it's given primarily to us. The other person isn't aware of that shift in your mind probably at all. Maybe on some level, everything's connected. So on some level, maybe they experience it, but not consciously generally. But you are. The moment you shift that, you let go of the grievance, you experience the gifts of love immediately. You feel happier, you feel more peaceful, more connected to your true self, and so on. So that's the reason why we do forgiveness. It's for your own peace of mind. And the side effects of that are, yeah, it might transform the relationship, and you might end up actually having quite a good relationship with the person and becomes a holy relationship. That may happen, maybe it doesn't. Maybe you never see the person again. but the transformations happened in your own mind. That's the important thing. So you can do this at any time that you're ready. It doesn't matter whether the person's currently in your life or not. It could be someone you knew 20 years ago. And that's still a grievance. There's still a grievance sitting there, and you finally let it go, then you've just forgiven them and you've just freed yourself. And you just, once again, established unconditional love in your awareness. But we resist this. So the question is, well, why would we resist this if it offers all these gifts? And that's because we value our special ego identity more than the experience of unconditional love. That's the simple truth. We want to be a special self more than these gifts of unconditional love, because that special self seems to offer us more. It offers us a separate identity. It offers us our uniqueness, our specialness. It offers us the things we want and desire. It offers us special relationships. It also offers us a lot of grievances, a lot of problems, a lot of pain, sickness, and death. So you have to look at it honestly and go, is it worth it? You know, is that offering really worthwhile, or actually is it just a deception? You know, I've been suckered in to this offering. It's a con job, essentially. The ego's held up all these things to us and said this is all good, but actually it's not. It's a con job. What it's offering us isn't actually of any value at all. And so he's unmasking the greatest con artist in the world. That's another way of looking at the course. You know, Yeshua's like, right, I've got to show you the con of the ego so that you're fully aware of it, because then you will decide. I don't have to tell you. Once you're aware of it, you will decide to let it go, because you don't want to be conned anymore, because you realize you've been duped and deceived and conned your whole life, and probably many lifetimes. On and on it goes, until you realize what's going on, and then you're ready to let it go. So it's a very simple choice in the end. Everyone must come to this choice in the end. And the coming to that choice is the journey of awakening. And sometimes it can take longer for some people. Sometimes we vacillate. Sometimes we'll do quite well for a bit, and then we backslide and we go back into the ego. But in the end, the trajectory is always going to be towards the letting go and the love, because in the end, everyone finds the ego's thought system too painful to bear in the end. As Yeshua says, tolerance for pain might be high, but it's not unlimited. So at some point, everyone's pain becomes too great, and they go, I can't do this anymore. I have to find another way. And that other way then presents itself in the form of forgiveness or letting go that happens through some mechanism, through some agent of the Holy Spirit in the world. You were mentioning the Odyssey movie where Odysseus is told to let go of his need to control and just get on a raft and it'll take you home. So there the nymph is a divine agent speaking for the truth of letting go and trusting. And obviously that's a powerful lesson that he had to learn. And the letting go was what was actually going to teach him the truth and probably helped him resolve his guilt over what he'd done in the Trojan War. So it's that letting go of all the blocks to awareness of unconditional love that show up in response to people and events that come into our lives to trigger them. And that's the way we make the choice. It doesn't, there's this sort of glorification that's enlightened. We're enlightened and it's all going to be wonderful. The actual process is not an easy process. The actual process of it is you're going to be continuously challenged. You're going to be triggered. You're going to experience these negative thoughts or emotions, and then you're going to have to work through them and let them go. And then just when you think, great, now I've really got it, then something else comes along. Yeah, I'm so enlightened. Right. Ding. And then the button gets pushed again, and you're like, no, I'm really angry now. I'm really upset by something. I'm really fearful. And then you realize, well, there's still more letting go to do. So that's the practice. because our ego, our separate self, resists letting go of these blocks for dear life because they are its very life or existence. Right? The blocks are where it exists. So if it lets go of these blocks, then there's no ego anymore. It knows that. So it's hanging on for dear life. And that can be quite strong, that power in your mind, seemingly. And then there's this counter force, which is the Holy Spirit, that's saying, just let it go. And the tension between them is the conflict, is the struggle that we all experience. And that's why awakening isn't easy, because you've got these two forces, the one taking you in the one direction, the other one taking the other direction. And sometimes they can seem to be pulling you apart. It's like, I just don't know which way to go, because I'm conflicted, I'm torn, there's no inner peace, because I haven't chosen, essentially. I'm still vacillating between the choices. It's like I'm taking one step in one direction, and then the other guide is taking me in the other direction. And I keep doing that, going one step and then one step here. And obviously that's going to get very frustrating if we keep doing that. Clarity and power and peace come when you choose a path. You say, I'm going this way. I'm going to consistently make choices in alignment with this guide. And then you start moving away from the other one and moving on a path towards, well, either heaven, if the Holy Spirit's your guide, or hell, if the ego is your guide. It might not seem to be that way to start with, but eventually it's going to lead there. Think of an extreme example of those. So on the one hand, you've got an enlightened master like Yeshua, so consistently making these choices to let go, to forgive, dedicating his life to enlightenment, eventually having to make the kind of final letting go of his body, the crucifixion, to the point where eventually, he can do this amazing thing and resurrect and founds the Christian religion. Just one choice at a time. Yeah, some of the choices seem to be major ones, like the crucifixion, resurrection, the choice to go through that. But all of that, he'd worked up to that. He hadn't just got there straight away. It's like one little choice at a time through his whole life. Thousands and thousands and thousands of choices culminated in that final choice to say, not my will, but thy will be done. He was only able to do that because of the path he'd walked up to that point. Look at, probably the polar opposite. Someone like Hitler made a series of choices, hundreds, thousands of small choices away from spirit and towards the darkness, one little choice at a time, and then eventually ends up with the entire world coming to hunt him down and attack him and try him and kill him, and is left with no choice but to commit suicide. So there we go. Right? They didn't just get there overnight. That was a series of different choices that were made in opposite directions, and then you see how their lives played out completely differently. The one is considered possibly the greatest monster in history, and the other one's considered the greatest enlightened being, the savior. And how did they get into those two different positions? Just one choice at a time, taken in a consistent direction. So the value of someone like Hitler is you see what happens if you choose consistently in the wrong direction. And we can learn from that. You don't have to go and repeat his experience. You just go, well, okay, he ended up causing chaos and carnage, millions of people dead, a world war, and eventually where did it all come to? His whole empire's fallen apart. He's losing his sanity, and the entire world is after him. He's the most wanted man in the world, and he's got no choice but to commit suicide, or he's going to have to go through this humiliating trial. And probably be killed for his crimes. So the illusion of power that the ego offered him clearly wasn't really power. It was actually weakness. It just seemed to be strength for a while, but it will eventually betray you. That sort of power, and there's a very good example of a man who went for the ego's power in full force. Megalomaniac wanted to rule the world, and then in the end ended up being powerless and helpless. So good. These extreme examples are very useful to learn from, because you can learn from both and then make your own choice. So we practice by doing the mind training lessons. That's why I've got a daily practice, daily lessons. That's why we study the text. We do meditations, because every time we practice, we're making a little choice in the right direction. Might not seem to be major, just saying, okay, it's another little choice, another little step on that path. And if you keep doing that, you're advancing on that path. It may not seem to be great progress on a daily basis. Okay, well, I practiced my lesson a few times, and maybe I vacillated a bit, and there was a bit of fear, but I managed to let it go. And I did my meditation in the morning, and I did, maybe an hour of spiritual practice. Okay, you joined a live session, so today you might end up doing 3 or 4 hours. That's all of that is choice. All of that is taking you in the right direction, and it's cumulative. It adds up. Those choices start to take you in a very different direction. They start to change your mind, and over a period of months and years, you start seeing the difference in your mindset, in your life, which can be quite pronounced, profound. Okay, so any thoughts, comments, or questions on that? I see Kim's joined us. Kim, welcome. You started, so you didn't really miss very much of the session.
Okay. Can you see me? I'm maybe in a bit of the dark because I'm actually I'm sitting on the balcony with my pet sitting a cat who hasn't been out the whole day. But then when I tried to take him for a walk, yes, I do take him for a walk. We take him on a leash so that he doesn't have altercations with other cats and animals.
That's an interesting one.
No, it's actually become more and more. I mean, we're not the first, put it that way. But then because he stays in a flat, otherwise he doesn't get that much stimulation. So here's Benji. So he's sitting on the chair outside, but because we've got this railing and on the floor above the ground floor, I need to watch that he doesn't want to decide to jump off. So, and there's a cat next door on other one that tried to come in the other day. So, yeah.
Okay, well, welcome to the cat as well. No doubt you'll hopefully absorb something by osmosis.
He looks quite happy sitting there.
Yeah, cats are they're very zen.
He's
it's
quite
just
chill.
I'm just content in the moment.
Yeah.
When they're chilling. I mean, they have their hunting instinct and their prey drives. They're not always like that. But when they're chilling,
get a bit grumpy. Yeah.
They can do, yeah. But when they're content, it's just well, there's nothing that they need. They're just content to curl up and just lie in content for hours.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's no drive to have to do stuff, and there's no guilt at that. That's humans. I'm just chilling out. No, I should be doing something. I should be working. Cats are just I'm just chilling out. What else do you expect me to do? That's what I do.
And serve me.
Yeah.
Serve me.
Serve me. Yeah, I'm hungry. Oh, it's a great model. Provided you got a good owner, of course.
I think I'll come back as a cat, but it has to be a good owner.
Yeah, but see that's the problem. You don't necessarily know. And remember, your life is very short.
Cat.
Yeah, exactly. That's necessarily all it's cracked up to be. Rather, just don't come back. That's really what the course is saying. Just don't come back. Just be done with it in this life. All right. So, any thoughts on that, Archie? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm still thinking about that. The special relationship thing.
That's one of the hardest things to get your mind around.
Yeah.
In the course, he spends a lot of time in the text. So you read the text from about chapter 15 through to chapter 24. It's a lot of focus on the special relationship. and unpacking that and getting us to understand it. At some point, I think it's in one of the recent sections, he says, in some sense, the Holy Spirit was the ego's answer to the idea of separation, was God's answer to the idea of separation. And then the ego countered that with a special relationship and said, oh, okay, so we got to find now a defense against the Holy Spirit and this divine love. So let's invent another kind of love. Very, very cunning. So we'll invent a special form of love. And most people think that that's what love is, to be honest. It's a special love. Yes, I love my wife or my husband. I love my children, my family, my pets, parents, and I love those people more than I love other people. That's normal. That's how we brought up.
I know, and this is what I'm kind of thinking. Well, what's wrong with that? It's not that I don't love other people, but I just love, I love certain people more than I love others.
What's wrong with that is it makes you special, and it separates you from other people. It separates you from the whole. And so now you think of yourself as separate and special in some way, which means that separation is real, which means that all the consequences of separation are real. And, that's very, very problematic. If you look at those consequences, let's see if I can find it for you. There we go.
There is a message to love everyone equally. Is that the message then?
Yeah.
To have any distinction between...
At the highest level of unconditional love, you see no distinction. So these truly awakened beings do not judge anyone by worldly standards. They don't judge. They don't have conditions. They might see their condition, like let's say Yeshua is going around Palestine, and he's seeing people in pain and so on. So he'll note that, but there's no judgment or condemnation. In fact, his only purpose is to restore their mind to the truth of who they really are, the at one-ment. And so, he didn't judge a leper as any different from his disciples. For instance, they were equally worthy of the same care and love. And you see that. He would go to lepers, and his disciples go, "Oh, no, Master, don't touch him." And this was like, I've got nothing to fear. I know that I'm beyond being infected. I can't catch whatever they got, and I can heal them. And so, he embraces the leper, and everyone's like, "What are you doing? That's completely crazy," because he knows that soul is just desperate for love, just wants someone to recognize them and love them, and that unconditional love is going to heal them. Because it's given so completely and fully. And he says, always starts at his healings with, your sins are forgiven you. And because they believed he was the Messiah, they really took that to heart. And there was a profound letting go on a mental, emotional, and energetic level. And then, the healing happens, because that energetic framework that supported the ego and the disease just collapses. And in the presence of that unconditional love. So he's a very, very good example of exactly that. And he demonstrated. That's why his teaching was so powerful, because he didn't just talk about these ideas. He walked around and he demonstrated it in practice, and he did the healings, and people saw how he behaved and how he treated everyone. And there was evidently this such gentle, unconditional love for everyone. There was no condemnation and no judgment. And that's where his power came from. He even said, it's not, I'm not doing these things. It's all through my Father's power. You've been healed by your own belief. He said that as well. It's not really me who's anything special. It's just that I'm reminding you of what you are, and I'm helping you to let go of your false beliefs that are blocking your awakening and your healing. And when people did that, and they, because they believed so much that he was the Messiah, they would come into his presence, there would be this profound dropping away of all those beliefs. So forgiveness, letting go, but quite suddenly, and then energetically they shift in a moment, and then bang, something profound happens and they're healed because the energy shift has been so marked. And most people in today's world would question it. They go, no, that's not possible. I've got to go to my doctor. We have a scientific materialist paradigm that says that kind of thing is impossible. So that belief is then going to block any miracles. And Yeshua couldn't do them everywhere. There's recorded in the Bible that he went to some places, and when people didn't have faith, he couldn't do them. He went to his hometown of Nazareth, and people didn't believe because they were like, oh, well, this is just, little Yeshua. He was a kid 20 years ago running around with a snotty nose, and I knew his parents, and I knew him as a kid. How can he be the Messiah? It doesn't equate for them. So they didn't believe. So because there was no faith, that field of unconditional love wasn't there, and so the miracles didn't happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's something to be aware of, and just work at it. Yeah, you still on the level of form, you're still going to have your family, you're still going to have those special relationships. Just don't make them exclusive.
Yeah.
Realize that the love that underlies them is actually the same love that is for everyone, because everyone is actually fundamentally the same. So can you treat everyone the same without any of these distinctions or judgments of the ego interfering? And that is not an easy task, because people can be very, very difficult and very challenging.
Yeah.
But that's the task. That's what he's saying to us. You need to practice that. And even if sometimes you've got to say to people, okay, sorry, like that's it. Like many business interactions, which is just not going to work. So you walk away, but then don't hold a grievance in your heart against that person. Just okay, I'm just letting it go, because actually they're still the Christ, they're still divine underneath that. They just may not have woken up to that. They don't realize that yet. So I'm not going to poison my thinking by holding their ego in mind and judging it. You see how that makes them special and me special, because now I've got a special grievance against a special person in my life, which serves the same function as special love. Whether I special love or I especially hate someone, it's the same thing. Because I'm specialing them out. I'm distinguishing them from everyone else and saying, right, you are now a target for this special kind of emotion, which makes me special. Because I've got a special love or a special hate for you, that now starts to define me. And as we've seen, the special love and special hate, if people believe in them, can very much define them, can become the dominant driving factor behind so much of who they believe they are. Either way, again, example of Yeshua versus the Buddha. His unconditional love became the driving force behind his life, and Hitler's special hatred became the driving force behind him and defined him and made him what he became. So we become the thoughts and emotions that we consistently, habitually think about and feel, which is why we have to be vigilant. And today's lesson is saying that my mind holds only what I think with God. So let's dive into that, shall we? Where are we? There we go. So it's a review lesson. Let's read the introduction first. Very, very short. There's only 3 lines to it, but there are a few paragraphs of introduction. So let's dive into that. So nothing much to translate there. Let's just, we can read it in the alternative. Archie, do you want to kick it off?
Could you share your screen, please, John?
Oh, sorry, I'm I took screen sharing off. What about that? Thanks for reminding me. Okay. Okay. There we go. Can you see that?
We're seeing all of your windows. Yes. Now. Yeah. So just read the alternative.
Yeah, just read the alternative. There's nothing much to translate there. It's just in the it's personalized in the first person in the alternative.
Yeah. The whole paragraph or line by line, just the whole thing.
Yeah, just read the whole thing.
Okay. Now I will review again, this time aware I am preparing for the second part of learning how the truth can be applied. Today I will begin to concentrate on readiness for what will follow next. This is my aim for this review and for the lessons following it. And so I will review the recent lessons and their central thoughts in a way that will facilitate the readiness that I aim to achieve now.
Okay, so basically just saying, right, we're in a review again. Every now and then he does this, especially in the reviews. He says, okay, let's just look at our process. Take a time out of the actual teachings and how are we going to do this? And that's important in any kind of coaching or learning. It's like the actual learning methodology. And so I appreciate these reviews because he takes the time to do that. So, okay, so we're now going to review the lessons, and this is about getting ready for what's to come. So I'll begin to concentrate on readiness for what will follow next. So what will follow after this is part 2 of the workbook, where we go a bit deeper into the truth. It becomes shorter, sweeter, and more direct to the truth. At the moment, we're still working through the blocks to awareness of love's presence. This first part of the work was really about identifying those blocks and helping us to let them go. All right. So this one was a bit to translate. Let's read this in the original and in the alternative. So is Kim with us? Kim, if you can read the original, sentence by sentence, and Archie the alternative. Kim, are you with us? No, doesn't seem like it. Archie, you there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You there? Okay. So I don't know what's. So she tried to join on a separate device.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll read the original and you read the alternative. There is a central theme that unifies each step in the review we undertake, which can be simply stated in these words. My mind holds only what I think with God.
There is a central theme that unifies each step in the review I undertake, which can be simply stated in these words. My awareness holds only what I think with perfect love or abundance.
Now, so mind changes to awareness, and God becomes perfect love or abundance, which is a good reminder. This is about saying, I'm only going to think from that perfect loving awareness and nothing else. And you'll notice, if you practice this, how often other thoughts come in. If you've been practicing this today, you'll see that happens quite a lot. Oh, okay, there's a thought of scarcity, there's a thought of fear, there's a thought of worry. Like you can notice these things, and then the idea is use the statement to correct it. Okay, so my mind, my awareness holds only what I think with perfect love or abundance. And that abundance in this context is quite important because so often our thinking is scarcity based. Any worry, any fear is about lack, it's about limitation, it's about scarcity. If you're honest about it, it's not abundant. So when those kinds of thoughts come into your mind and you review them with this lesson in mind, it helps you just to see them for what they are and let them go, and not allow yourself to dwell on them. It's not saying that you won't have them. It's saying when you have them, here's what you're going to do about it. My mind holds only what I think with God. Okay. Kim, are you with us now?
Yeah, sorry. Instead of joining from Telegram on my phone, I joined from the email.
Okay.
Otherwise, it can cancel me. But I for some reason, it's not showing the screen share for me. So I just, I'll refer to my Telegram. You just tell me where I need to go, so I can't see.
You can't see it. Okay, that's interesting. But Archie can see it.
Yeah. I think
I'm on
it's
my
on
laptop, so I can.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just saying Jonathan has started screen sharing, but then it just shows a blank screen. So
all right.
it must be
I'll
yeah.
stop the share and I can try it again. See if that works. Sometimes,
Okay, but I think it must be on my side because
it sometimes
you can
fixes
see
the problem.
Okay.
There we go. Now it says participants can now see your screen.
Excuse me.
So any luck,
I can't
Kim?
see it yet. No. So maybe just tell me where to go. I can refer to either Telegram or my email.
Yeah, it's in the document, so you can get to it from Telegram or there's a link to it in the email.
Okay, the introduction to the lesson.
Yeah. So we're there. So we're on number 2 of the introduction, paragraph 2 of the introduction. So if you can read the original, we'll start again from the top. There is a central theme that unifies each step from there.
There is a central theme that unifies each step in the review we undertake, which can be simply stated in these words.
And then, say the words.
Okay, my mind holds only what I think with God.
Okay, now Archie.
There is a central theme that unifies each step in the review I undertake, which can be simply stated in these words. My awareness holds only what I think with perfect love or abundance.
That is a fact and represents the truth of what you are and what your Father is.
This is a fact and represents the truth or abundance of what I am and what my source of abundance is.
It is the thought by which the Father gave creation to the Son, establishing the Son as a co-creator with himself.
It is this thought by which this source or abundance gave being or abundance to its extension, establishing its extension as an extender of perfect love or abundance like itself.
It is this thought that fully guarantees salvation to the Son.
This thought fully guarantees that its extension will awaken.
For in his mind no thoughts can dwell, but those his Father shares.
For only the thoughts it shares with me can be in my awareness.
Lack of forgiveness blocks this thought from his awareness.
Resistance to letting go blocks this thought from my awareness.
Yet it is forever true.
Yet it is forever true.
Okay, and from the top, Archie.
There is a central theme that unifies each step in the review I undertake, which can be simply stated in these words. My awareness holds only what I think with perfect love or abundance. This is a fact and represents the truth or abundance of what I am and what my source of abundance is. It is this thought by which this source or abundance gave being or abundance to its extension, establishing its extension as an extender of perfect love or abundance like itself. This thought fully guarantees that its extension will awaken. for only the thoughts it shares with me can be in my awareness. Resistance to letting go blocks this thought from my awareness, yet it is forever true.
Okay, thoughts on that? Summary, what's he saying?
Yeah, I think it. Yeah, I think it's kind of summed up in points 6 and 7. So only the thoughts that true love, not true love, sorry, perfect love or abundance has, are in my awareness. And so resistance is just letting go of the blocks to that awareness. So that's kind of my sort of summary of it.
It's about being really aware of those blocks. That's really the whole process of the course.
Yeah.
Saying you need to first become aware of the blocks to the awareness of love's presence in order to let them go.
Yeah.
If you're not even aware of them, then how are you going to let them go?
Yeah.
You think that the blocks are you. This is the problem. We think that all of those blocks make up our separate self, and that's who we are. Which is a complete lie, but as long as you identify with the blocks as yourself, there's no way you're ever going to access your true self. Because you think you already know yourself. Your self is this block and this block and this block. It's quite sad, really. It's tragic that we go through our lives thinking that that's who we are, and it's not who we are at all. Really identifying with this character that is so precious to us. Shades of we talked about Lord of the Rings, Gollum. The precious, this precious thing that we cherish, which is really our identity.
Yeah.
And yet it's just not true. And it's led us, as in that story of the Lord of the Rings. The ring has tormented him. The ring has caused him immense pain and suffering and grief, and caused him to live his life alone in a cave and be alienated from other people and his kind, become an outcast in the world. But he still cherishes that above all else, even though the ring has done that to him. And so a very potent symbol of the ego, and also how hard it is to let go of it.
Yeah.
That this precious thing that we all cherish, we go, oh, well, it's just a ring, but the ring symbolizes the power of the ego. And that's the power that governs this world. That's the power that we've got to start becoming aware of that in our own mind, in our lives, before we can start letting it go. And that's the essential part of the awakening process, awareness. And then a conscious choice to choose another way of thinking. Okay, I'm aware I'm thinking negatively, there's a block, there's some fear. I'm aware of that, okay, but right now I can choose to let that thought and that feeling go, and I can restore my mind to this true awareness, which is what it's pointing us to. With a simple reminder, my mind holds only what I think with this loving awareness. So really, really simple, but not easy to do. To stay in this awareness that there's only perfect love or abundance in a world of illusion is a challenge. And if you can, and you stay in this high awareness, the awareness of truth, then you're awakened. Essentially, awakened beings are people who've just taught themselves to stay there all the time, or the vast majority of the time. They, by their own admission, sometimes vacillate. They also make mistakes, but very quickly corrected. It's because the awareness is so sharp. The moment that comes in, they're going to go, okay, I see that. I'm gonna let this go. They just do that much better than people who are not awakened. It's as simple as that. So your ability to let go quickly and easily is the measure of your awakening. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
So that's the barometer. And as you progress on the journey, you'll notice, okay, maybe I'm getting better at letting go. But maybe there's still some blocks. Maybe some things I'm quite good at letting go of, minor things, but maybe there's things that I still struggle with. Then those are the things you need to focus in on. It's like, okay, I need to deal with those difficulties. And the beauty is that the life will keep giving you those difficulties, and those blocks will keep arising until you let them go. That's how it works.
Yeah.
So it just means you haven't learned the lesson yet. Some people are like, oh, why do I keep getting the same lesson over and over again? It's so tiring. I'm so done. It's like, well, yeah, obviously haven't learned to let it go yet. So it's going to keep happening until you learn what you need to learn, and then you move on. So how quickly are you willing to learn? So that's the question. So that puts the ball back in your court. The responsibility is then yours. To say yes, I've got to do this. I've got to just let this go. It's as simple as that. All right. So there's a slide to read. Archie, if you can do that.
Mm-hmm. So my mind holds only what I think with God. That was the title, wasn't it, of the slide? Yeah. And my real thought, let this thought alone engage your mind fully and remove the rest. And when other thoughts occur, repeat this thought as a way to tell yourself that they are not really part of you. It is a fact. It represents the truth of what you are and what your Father is. It is this thought by which the Father gave creation to the Son. It is this thought which fully guarantees salvation to the Son. Lack of forgiveness blocks this thought from his awareness, yet it is forever true.
Yeah. So you see how these thoughts, this thought, my mind holds only what I think with God, is a consequence of the truth of oneness. If there's only one awareness, then I cannot think apart from that awareness. It's it's a logically consistent consequence of one awareness. So this thought then takes you back to that one awareness, reminds you to be vigilant of any thoughts that block that one awareness. So there's a little spot of darkness that comes in, and you focus on that thought, and obviously the more you focus on it, the more the darkness grows, and it obscures this blazing light that lies underneath it. So we're literally caught up. Imagine if you visualize it. There's a little spot of darkness here in the middle, which is actually really tiny and infinitesimal. But when you're inside it, you're caught up in the darkness. This would be the universe of form, time and space. It's a little dot in this vast infinite awareness of truth. But when you're in it, this now seems to be all encompassing. It seems to surround you, and it seems to block out the light of this true awareness. And that's literally what we're in. We're in a little thought bubble that seems to now be a prison for us, and we can't see the light beyond it. But we can if we choose to. We've just got to let go of all of the blocks that make up the prison that's in our own mind, that stop us from seeing the light that's beyond. Very similar. We've studied the allegory of Plato's cave. It's exactly what that allegory is teaching us. So we were prisoners in a little cave, and we're looking at reflections, shadows on the wall, reflected by a fake light, which is a fire, and none of that is true. So we're in this little cave, this little bit of darkness, but you leave the cave and there's light outside, and there's just this true awareness. In his allegory, it's the real world of beauty and truth, and because I think Plato quite fully understood that there is a world that's formless beyond that. But it was a good pointer towards something else. So a very, very good starting point to start questioning the reality of the cave, which you have to do in order to become aware of the light that's beyond it. And that's exactly what today's this idea is. It's the reminder to, okay, my mind holds only what I think with God. If that's true, then this fear cannot be real. This doubt cannot be real. This negative thought or emotion, whatever shape, way, form that plays out, this cannot be real, because there is only this one awareness we call the light. And that's pure, and it's whole, and it's complete, and there's nothing that actually negates that. There's nothing that contradicts that. And then the ego pops up something else, and you deny it again, and you don't, and this is the way you undo the spot of darkness, by you keep looking at it and you keep denying it. Eventually that wall, that prison that you've built for yourself, starts to crumble, starts to melt away, and this light starts to shine through into your awareness of this world. That process, that perception, that is called the real world, and that process is called awakening. And so then you start to see the light everywhere. The light underlies everything, and you really start to not see with your physical eyes, you start to understand. It's really an understanding in the mind that starts to take place. And so that becomes the process. Okay. So let us begin our preparation. Nothing much to translate there, so let's just read the alternative. Kim, if you can read that, let me begin my preparation.
Let me begin my preparation with some understanding of the many forms in which the lack of true letting go may be carefully concealed.
Yeah, carry on.
Because they are illusions, I may not perceive them to be what they really are. Defenses that protect my negative thoughts from being perceived and recognized. Their purpose is to show me something else and stop me from letting go of self-deceptions made to take its place.
And then there's a kind of nice visualization. Many forms in which lack of true forgiveness may be carefully concealed. There's your normal thoughts.
Do you want me to read further, or?
Yeah, you can read this slide.
Okay. The many forms in which the lack of true forgiveness may be carefully concealed. My normal thoughts, unforgiveness, my normal thoughts.
So those are your normal thoughts. We think of those as normal, but they're actually unforgiving. I mean, for instance, yesterday I was sitting having a chat to my landlady, and her friend was the day before actually, and just normal conversation. We're talking about the world and what's happening, but there was so much unforgiveness present in what they were saying. I was aware of that, but they weren't. And it's just like, yeah, but normal. I'm really, friend was saying, well, I'm really dissatisfied with this country. And I'm like, well, actually, you don't really know how good you have it. Just go to South Africa. You want to see dysfunction, and just like I'm trying to give her, okay, it's actually, it's not so bad here. I said, no, it's not good enough. I'm still unhappy. And then reminiscing to, oh, well, when we were in our 20s and the 70s, things were much better. And you like, all of that seems to be normal, right? But if you really look at it, there's unforgiveness everywhere. Lack of gratitude. I kind of suggested, well, you can't really change any of it, so just drop your expectations. It was like, no, I'm not going to do that. It's not good enough. I'm unsatisfied. End of. So there, in the so-called normal thought, is the unforgiveness. And that's just considered normal. And if you question that, then people think you're a bit strange and weird. Well, why aren't you joining in the normal dialogue of the ego? So this is going to potentially rock people's boats, and particularly if you speak it, they're going to say, well, no, that doesn't make any sense, and because it challenges that worldview, and it challenges the ego that underlies it. But I think he's just making the point that this is these clouds of illusion that we live in, this dissatisfaction You know, there was the dukkha, the dissatisfaction that the Buddha noticed. So everyone's really dissatisfied. No, I'm not happy. I'm not satisfied. It's not good enough. You know, there's the ego's normal thought, and I can guarantee you, 50 years ago when they were young, there was still that going on. They reminisce and they go, "Oh, it was all wonderful. It was so lovely." No, at that point, the IRA was threatening to bomb London, and so there would have been a lot of, "Oh, I'm really not happy with this because the world's very dangerous. What's become of it?" They've forgotten all that, and they reminisce over the past and go, it was better then." But that's just an illusion. The truth is, it's never going to be okay as long as you're in the ego. It's never going to meet your expectations. There's always going to be this sense of it's not good enough. I'm suffering until you change your mind. Yeah. But if you wait for the world to change, then it's never going to change. I mean, they're both in their late 60s. So what? So you think the world is suddenly going to change and in 10 years' time, you're going to be satisfied? No, the truth is you're never going to be satisfied. It doesn't matter who comes to power and what the government does. And there's still going to be this underlying dissatisfaction because that's the way you've chosen to be. And that's the way you've chosen to perceive the world. And that, that simple truth is where you awaken. So, okay, it's never going to change. I can't expect the world to change. I must change my mind about the world. That's all I can do. Drop my expectations, drop my grievances, drop my lack of forgiveness. That's what he's saying. And then he goes on. So read this bit about your normal thoughts are defenses.
Yeah. Your normal thoughts, they also can read because they are illusions. They are not perceived to be but what they are. Your normal thoughts are defenses which protect your unforgiving thoughts from being seen and recognized. Their purpose is to show you something else and hold correction off through self-deception made to take its place. Your normal thoughts are defenses which protect your unforgiving thoughts from being seen and recognized.
It's actually repeated.
Yeah.
It's just that in two different slides. So I think I can read it again. It's no harm.
Their purpose is to show you something else and hold correction off through self-deception made to take its place. So there's a defense, normal thought, self-deception, and there's a unforgiving thought. And then there's the real thought, which is correction.
Yeah, so it's the layers of mind. You know, at the top level of mind, all these normal thoughts that go up to making up our perception of the world and our self-concept that underpins it, block the real thoughts that are possible, but we have to be willing to question first those normal thoughts and then be willing to let them go. So those normal thoughts really are not normal. Those are actually negative and destructive and they're not helpful. And so I need to let them go, which means I'm also letting go of my self-concept. Yeah, question?
Okay, so normal thought is kind of a more neutral one. So, okay, I'm looking at that tree, it's green, or
I think so. He's saying my normal
so
thoughts.
It's not like it's not a anxious fear, angry thought. It's a kind of when they say normal, could be neutral, positive.
No, so I think he means just the normal way of thinking of the ego. So, for instance, if you're looking at a tree, you say, "Oh, that's a nice tree," or "Oh, that tree's looking a bit parched and dry." Now, that seems to be a completely normal thought and a perception that follows from it. But if you really break it down, that normal thought has duality in it. I, subject, see tree, object outside of me, and I observe its condition, and I make a judgment on it. So the tree is separate from me. The tree might seem to be parched and not in a good state, or it might be healthy or a nice tree. And like that subject-object duality is so normal in the ego's world that we don't even question it.
Yeah.
And he's asking us to question that and say, well, all these normal thoughts that you think are so normal, like actually, if you really look at them carefully, they have separation embedded in them. They have duality embedded in them. Because I, subject, think I'm seeing object outside of me that's separate from me. That's an illusion.
So how do you correct that thought then, Jonathan, about the tree? So what would you?
Well, by saying, but that tree is just an illusion arising from the ground of being, right? Underneath this is just a pure awareness, which I share with the tree and every other sentient being. So that's a corrective thought. It's not the absolute truth, because the absolute truth is beyond all form, but it's a correction of that perception of duality. I feel my oneness with the tree, rather than seeing it as separate from me. And so I feel the connection, I feel an expansiveness in my perception, and that sense of expanded awareness we call unconditional love. That's divine love. Okay, I'm seeing that everything is really one and the same with me, but I have to start by questioning my thought system of duality that is all about subject-object. I subject the object outside of me, which is separate from me, and the tree isn't me.
Yeah.
And the problem with that perception is if I then cut down the tree, that's not hurting me. See, that doesn't affect me because I'm not the tree. But if I realize that I am one with the tree, then to cut down the tree is to damage myself, my true awareness, because I'm attacking another sentient being. And so it makes a profound difference in our actions. All of the pain and suffering and unkindness in the world comes from this lack of awareness of our oneness with someone or something else. You're only going to treat them unkindly if you think they're separate from you, and it doesn't have a consequence for you. Oh, well, that person isn't me, so it doesn't matter if I treat them unkindly because they're other than me. So I can treat them as unkindly as I want, and I'm not affected, except that you are on a deeper level. And so there's going to be a disturbance in your peace. There's going to be guilt. It's going to affect you because your real self knows that it's not true, that you are violating the truth. And so this is why you can never rest easy in the ego.
Can you, for example, though, acknowledge the beauty of the tree, though? Can you, or is that even, is that even possible?
So what is beauty then? Is beauty in the form, or is beauty in the very essence?
Yeah, in the essence.
Yeah. So if you can really connect with its essence and go, amazing. Like I can feel the life essence of the tree, and it's really the one life that we all share, and I can feel that in me, and I connect to it. Like, what are you doing? You're appreciating the beauty of it. Beauty is another word for life, for truth, for the essence of it.
Yeah.
If you focus on the form and you go, the tree's leaves are wonderful, and it's so. That might seem to be all good when the tree's in bloom. Let's say it's spring. Oh, fantastic, amazing. But then, the tree's gonna go through its cycle, and the blossoms are going to fall off, and then the leaves are going to fall off, and it's going to go back to winter if it's a deciduous tree, of course. But it's going to change. And then there's a kind of the tree was so beautiful, and now it's all sort of stark and bare, and now I feel a little bit down, not as wonderful and abundant as when it was in bloom in the springtime. So that's the problem with any form-based perception, is it's going to change. So you set yourself up for a disappointment down the line because it's not always going to stay that way. So you got to be quite vigilant. It's like, okay, so I'm appreciating the tree. What am I really appreciating about it? Am I appreciating its form and the intricacy of its leaves, or am I going a little bit deeper than that? Am I going to the deeper level of real thought, which is like, no, the tree and me are one. There's one awareness. Maybe I can just close my eyes and connect with that awareness. If I sit under the tree or I touch the tree and I give myself a moment beyond sense perception, maybe I can feel that awareness as my own awareness. And now I've gone beyond that duality of me, separate self, as the separate self perceiving the tree as other than me. And the real beauty of the tree has revealed itself to me in that moment, if I've managed to use the tree in that way to correct my perception. This is what Yesh was saying, all perception is for. It's what everything's for. Perceive it correctly, and it connects you with your true self.
Yeah.
Perceive it incorrectly, and it perpetuates the ego.
Yeah.
And everything that's the duality. That's the split in the world. Everything is either going to be used for your awakening under the Holy Spirit's guidance, or it's going to be used to perpetuate a thought system of separation and maintain the ego. Those are the choices in every perception. So really what he's asking us to do is question our normal thoughts. We think it's normal. We think it's legitimate. You were talking earlier about, special relationships. It's normal to have special relationships in this world. Yes, absolutely. We're born into them. We have them from birth. We're born into families. Now, as part of your rebirth, it's questioning those and saying, okay, so I got these so-called special relationships, and I got these characters who seem to be part of my special family, sister and other relatives and so on. But is any of that really ultimately true? When all is said and done, when this life is over and we're all dead, is any of that going to maintain? Those special relationships are going to go, aren't they?
Yeah.
When the bodies of the people that populate the world die, the special relationships die with them. So how can that be eternal? How can that be the eternal truth then? It evidently can't be if you're being honest about it. So then, what about those relationships is real? What about those relationships is permanent? And that kind of questioning starts to question the normal thoughts, which are defenses against the truth of unconditional love, and they start to reveal an unconditional love that is always there, that doesn't change, never changes, it's eternal. Whether the form of the person is there, whether the body's there or not, it doesn't matter. It remains the same throughout all time. And now you become invulnerable. If you stay in that perception, then nothing can really hurt you. Someone changes and suddenly they don't like you, and you're at odds with them, they insult you or whatever, or they die, which is common. It's not going to hurt you because you realize that their fundamental awareness has not changed. It remains exactly the same, and you are the same along with them. So nothing's really changed, which then immunizes you against all of the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, as Shakespeare called them, which are already bound up with our normal thoughts. They're bound up with subject-object perception, with duality, with special relationships, with our normal judgments on the world. That dissatisfaction. Think about how so many people perceive the world. There's this underlying dissatisfaction. No, I'm not happy. Okay, well, what's going to make you happy? No, the government must change. Or you could wait a long time. In fact, you've been waiting your entire life and you're still not happy. And you're nearly 70. So, when you really question that, you have to start going, well, logically, is it really going to change? Suddenly I'm going to have this brilliant government and everything, all the problems are going to be gone. No, if I'm honest about it, I'm deluded. It's never going to happen. So I'm going to go to my grave with this dissatisfaction, which is exactly what the Buddha noticed and said, this is the human condition. This dissatisfaction caused by the mind's judgments, which is so normal that we don't question it. But we must question it, saying that the only way out of it is to start questioning it, saying, well, maybe this isn't normal. Maybe there is another way. Maybe I can change my mind. I can change my thinking in these simple, ordinary matters. You know, how I perceive a tree, how I look at the world and situation in a country and so on. You know, like all of that is so-called normal perception. Well, I can really question that, and I can start changing my mind about that. And that's very much within everyone's power. You can change your mind at any point you want to. No one's forcing you to think anything and to believe anything.
Yeah.
You say, oh, it's the circumstances, it's so terrible. No, it's your perception of the circumstances. There's a choice involved here. This is what most people don't realize. It's not the circumstances that are doing it to you. You are choosing to perceive the circumstances in a certain way based on your own predisposition. So if we look at this levels of mind diagram, shows us quite well what's really going on. Let's make it a bit bigger. So you see how you've got the perceptual level at the top. And then underneath, you've got the emotional level. So this is the normal thoughts that he's talking about exist at this top level of perception. And most people don't even question that. They never question their perceptions. They just go through life believing their perceptions. And so they never go deeper. And sometimes the discomfort of the emotional level comes through and they go, oh, I don't know why I'm feeling so depressed or so angry or so anxious. Was because there's this underlying thought system underneath your normal perceptions, which you're not willing to really look at and go to. So by questioning your normal perceptions, you start uncovering them and you start going deeper and you start going into that layer beneath. And so, you know, if we flip across here, the unforgiving thought, if you really go into it, is exists in this emotional level. Okay, so I'm resisting love, I'm fearful, I'm angry. Like most people don't want to go and uncover that and really look at that. But you only do that when you start questioning your so-called normal thoughts on the perceptual level. If you never question those, then this remains buried in your subconscious and it will come through from time to time when you feel uncomfortable. But then you just cover it over quickly. No, well, just forget about that and I'll distract myself with something. I'll watch some TV or I'll eat something or drink something or smoke something or go out or surf the net or do something to distract myself from the uncomfortable emotion that I don't really know how to deal with. And you know that's why we've invented the world we have, where there's so many distractions and so many things we can distract ourselves with and get addicted to, because it's all a distraction from this underlying emotional discomfort, the suffering that exists there. And people don't want to face that, so they just stay in the normal perception. So that's the known world, that's the comfort zone. Let's flick across to the hero's journey. That normal world is populated by normal perceptions. You're never going to go into the unknown world until you start questioning the validity of the normal world that you perceive. And that's how every spiritual journey starts. It's people who question it and say, well, hang on, you know, is that really true? Is that really the way that I want to perceive it? Maybe there's a choice here. Maybe I'm not just governed by the world's perceptions. And so you become an outlier, you become an anomaly in the world's thinking. So you start moving into the unknown, outside of this normal world. As soon as you start awakening, that's what inevitably happens, because you are questioning this whole normal world framework, which, let's face it, the majority of people believe that. That's why it's the world, that's why we have the world that we have. If everyone was awakened or awakening, then the world would look very differently. And would operate very differently, because in the unknown world works on God's laws, it works on different laws. Jim's coming back in, okay. So that, you know, that's what we've got to do. We've got to question all of these normal perceptions. Yeah. And it's not an easy task. You know, we go, well, I have to question everything. It says, yes, you do.
Yeah.
You have to question all of your default thoughts, your perceptions, your values, everything that you thought was normal and real, and you didn't have to question. Everything has to be questioned.
I'm just thinking on a practical level, even, Jonathan, I mean, just engaging in the world, I mean, I had a friend, just pop round this afternoon, and obviously, we got into a question, we got into a discussion, obviously expressing our dissatisfactions. If you really, interrogate what we were talking about, underlying it was, and I was just thinking, how on earth do you have a conversation with anyone then that doesn't
Well, it's interesting. As I said, I was having a
how do you
conversation
engage
with
socially with anyone?
these two ladies, and I
Yeah,
sort of thought, oh, okay, well, they invited me to sit out there, and I had
yeah,
a meal with them. I thought, okay, well, be open to it.
yeah,
But I tried to like give a bit of a different perspective, and I tried to say, well, it's a lot worse in South Africa. I thought, well, look, going into spiritual truth might not work, but
yeah,
it's a lot worse elsewhere.
yeah.
So be grateful. No, we can't be grateful. It was like absolutely no ways. No, I'm not happy. And I said, well, maybe you've just got to let go of your expectations. That didn't go down. Like it was like no response, no like. Oh, okay, that's an idea. Oh, let's talk. No, it's just like nah, like my perception is right, and that's it. There's no discussion. So okay, I did my best. I tried, and excused myself after 20 minutes, and then yesterday I could have sat with them. I was like, you know what? No, I don't want to.
Yeah,
Because I can't really engage in any meaningful conversation. So
yeah,
what's the point? They're just having a chat. I'm gonna have to join in with this, fairly inane. Usually, if you analyze it, there's negativity, there's a dissatisfaction. It's the
yeah,
normal way of the world. That's why the Buddha was so spot on. He said it's the dukkha, it's the dissatisfaction of life, because that's what he noticed. Like everyone's just dissatisfied, and this was
yeah,
2,500 years ago.
absolutely. No, absolutely. No,
Everyone's just
I'm just thinking on a practical level again, though. I mean, do you then just sort of
well.
spend time on your own?
It's it's maybe why enlightened beings through history have done a lot of that. They've
Yeah,
spent a lot of time on their own, or
yeah,
they go into spiritual communities where
yeah,
they spend time with people who are like-minded, who are
yeah,
also on this awakening path, and they can, understand each other. It's like, yeah, okay, we kind of
yeah,
get each other because we're getting it. We're on the same path. So yeah, if we hang out together, we can discuss these ideas. We can do our spiritual
yeah,
practice together, and no one is judging us and telling us we're crazy. They're like,
yeah,
what the hell are you doing? You go into a monastery or an ashram, and it's like, it's accepted. That's what you do. So that's why those spiritual communities were invented, because it was a lot easier to do your spiritual practice if you didn't have a lot of people going, you're totally weird and strange, and you need to fit in with our normal life, because you didn't fit in. And some cultures celebrated that and allowed that. In the East, very much it was like, yeah, okay, you're going to go on a spiritual path. That was an accepted path. You can go into a monastery. You can dedicate your life to that. You become a holy man or woman. It was very, accepted. Maybe not so much now. I don't know how the culture's changed in places like India, but for centuries, thousands of years, it was very accepted that that was something worthwhile to do with your life, and actually quite the highest path. The people like the Buddha and so on were revered the most in that culture, rather than the kings and the lawyers and the doctors. In our culture, you're just seen as a lazy layabout, and you're not really doing anything with your life, and you should be getting on with life and succeeding and making money and doing all these kinds of things, because it's become very materialistic, becoming removed from that. Whereas as in the past, the Buddha was the highest wisdom in that society. The kings of the land would go and consult the Buddha, because they recognize that there's something higher than my worldly power, and there was an acknowledgement of that. So we have to go back to that. I think we've got to find our way back to that, and that starts with questioning the normal thoughts, the normal perceptions that make up our world,
There's
saying,
the
well,
Pope,
maybe it's just not
Jonathan.
true.
It's the Pope. Come on.
There's the Pope. Yeah. Uh, no comments on that. No, I mean, I have actually quoted the previous Pope. I've quoted Pope John Paul and the previous guy. What was his name?
Francis.
Francis. Yeah. Actually, in the program. So there is some truth there, but there, unfortunately, there's also a lot of illusion. You know, the whole structure of like this big ceremony of electing a pope, and then the hierarchy, and then the Vatican, and I mean the Vatican is, if you go into the history of the Vatican, you're like, oh my God, what a sordid, corrupt place. It is, you know, dedicated to accumulation of wealth and power, pretty much, rather than spreading awakening and enlightenment. And at one point, the Pope was essentially the ruler of Europe. You know, it became the emperor of the whole of Europe. So yeah, very dodgy ground. Like as soon as you start formalizing, creating structures like that, obviously the ego is present, and the truth gets covered over to an extent. Which is why the awakened beings have always said, this is BS. Sorry, I don't buy this. Every single truly awakened being has not acknowledged the formal authorities and the structure of their time. The religions, the other worldly authorities, they've all gone, there's something higher, there's something deeper than this. And, I honor that. I honor God above worldly authorities. So that's what we're being asked to do in our own quiet way. We don't have to go and create a revolution out of it. We can just quietly change our mind. Thought by thought. It's as simple as that. The revolution is an internal one. You change your mind in your own awakening journey, systematically and progressively as you journey through life. And no one needs to know about that. You don't have to broadcast it. You might just choose to have different conversations, keep different company, mix with people who are on the same frequency. And then you can have quite very interesting conversations. You can really engage in fascinating conversations if someone's aligned and on the same frequency. And I think actually, Archie, that conversation we had when we first met, it was amazing. Like we just entered into like a zone for, I don't know, it seemed like hours. It's an hour or two. You just go into this really, and it's just like this connection and this really rewarding process of connecting and sharing ideas, and it's very fulfilling.
Yes.
And there doesn't seem to be any time. Now that's what can happen when you connect on a deeper level. But if someone is not on that level, you can't do that. And then there's no, you can still see them as the Christ. But
I guess that's where I'm coming from. Is that because inherently, I'm just going back to the special relationships again. So I think because I also really appreciate interacting, with people where I can have more meaningful discussions and conversation, and I don't want to be talking about superficial stuff. But then am I then again making that group of people special, sort of because they're the ones I want to hang out with, so again, I'm just trying to kind of
as long as you don't get attached to that.
Okay, so
okay.
and
I
it's
mean,
not
Jesus
that I'm
did it.
not making the other people,
Yeah.
I still respect them, so it's not like I'm being judgmental about them and saying,
but every spiritual teacher, leader has done this. Has gone, okay, well, I'm going to teach to people who want to hear my teaching, and so there'll be a bunch of people called disciples or adherents or initiates or bhikkhus, whatever you want to call them, who will follow my teachings. And I'll give the teachings to those people who are willing and open. And if someone else comes in and they're not part of that circle, I'll welcome them, because everyone needs to share in the truth. But I'll hang out with those people who want to hang out with me. It's kind of logical, and that doesn't mean that they were especially attached to those people and they thought less of the other people. If they're truly enlightened, they didn't. I was just, it's going to be a practical trend in life that's going to happen, because
it's a matter of choice again, isn't it? It's a matter of choice.
So you still make choices in this world. It's not saying you don't make choices. It's not saying you don't have preferences, but don't make the preference into an attachment. We covered this in the Art of Letting Go course, if you remember. And there's a subtle but a profound distinction between those. You know, a preference, you don't suffer. Okay. A preference is, I like having engaging conversations, hanging out with people who are like-minded. But if I don't, and I happen to be with someone who's not on the same level, okay, that's obviously what's happening. So I'll just go with it, you know, and I'll just connect with them on whatever level I can, and I'll see the truth and the beauty in them, irrespective. So no attachment, no suffering comes because my preference isn't met. That's really the key. As soon as there's suffering because my preference isn't met, it was not a preference, it was an attachment. That's hard to distinguish. You got to be very honest with yourself. It's like, no, I'm not attached, but it's not there, and now I really, you know, like, actually I'm suffering. If I'm honest, I'm not happy. I've got this dissatisfaction because it didn't pan out the way I expected it to. Okay, let me be honest. I'm obviously attached to it. That's why honesty is one of it's the second characteristic of God's teachers. In the Manual for Teachers, he discusses it. We'll get there towards the end of the year, because you know, we need to be very, very honest with ourselves in this journey. If we're not honest, then you go, oh, no, I'm not attached. It's cool. So because then I don't have to look at it. If I'm really honest, then I have to look at it. It's uncomfortable because I have to look at myself and go, okay, you know, where did I mess up? Where did I go wrong? Someone, for instance, in a commodity deal I did, she did something fairly wrong. It was an error on a number of levels. There was I don't know if it was intentional, but there was an error in the actual price. But then she also said, oh, well, you know, we're going to take 50 Rand and you just find your commission however we don't really care, you know, just find your commission elsewhere. It's like, no, the error there is you're not caring about other people, right? So I'll take it all for myself and I'm not really bothered about you. There's the error. Well, are you surprised that the deal blows up? And then I push back. And I said, well, if you're willing to see the error and acknowledge it, then fine. You know, okay, everyone makes mistakes. We move forward. So I'd like an apology. Obviously, no apology was forthcoming. Just, you know, you're at fault. I'm like, no, you made the error. Look at it, acknowledge it, because then you might have learned something, and then there's some change, and there's some transformation. If you don't want to look at the error, then guess what? The error is going to repeat itself. There's no change. There's no transformation. So then, okay, I choose not to work with you because that same unfairness coming from greed, essentially. Like, I want more for my side than you. I'm not going to consider fairness as a guiding principle in the deal. That is going to affect every single deal that we try and do. So then every deal is going to get sabotaged by that. So it's a waste of time. You're going to come up against that obstacle every time, and she's not willing to look at it. So no deal. It's a win-win or it's no deal. That's how it should. That's how business should work. And then you walk away, and I'm like, okay, so I let it go. I see underneath that, you know, all that imposter, I'm so great shadow is the truth. It wants to break through that, but the ego is too strong to allow her to humble herself and say, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I messed up. Okay, you know, I'm sorry, it won't happen again. Apologize, because then the ego has to really go, okay, I was wrong. And then that whole structure starts to crumble. But if you think that structure is you, then that's very threatening. So that's how it goes. And we can talk for hours about this stuff, like a simple introduction. But these are important points. You know, you've really got to get into the nitty gritty. Okay, so how does this actually work? How are you actually going to do this on a practical level in conversations with people? How does this work practically in your life? And I wouldn't say it's easy, but you know, it's in the end the only way. So yes, a lot of people are going to go, okay, well, I can't really connect with them or resonate because they're thinking normal thoughts and they're not open to question them. Well, that's okay. So I can still engage and be normal, as Ken Wapnick said, and engage in a conversation. But I don't have to spend loads and loads of time doing that. Like, there's no point in doing that ad nauseum with them because there's no resonance. So you know, I'd rather hang out with people where there's a resonance, and like we can share these ideas and there's a deeper connection. Yeah. Yes, I have to make choices. There's a preference for doing that than the other. But everyone has to make those choices. We've all got to make choices about how we spend our time and who we spend our time with, because you can't spend your time with everyone. So like that's just part of the human condition. So make wise choices. And if you can't always make that choice, then just accept it. It's okay. Like right now I'm sitting with people and there's not really much of a resonance, but I can use that as a forgiveness lesson, and I can practice letting go and seeing the truth anyway. Okay, so that's my lesson for the evening then. See, so now I'm still using that situation for awakening.
Yeah.
I'm not resisting it. It's the resistance that's the problem. Oh no, this is terrible. These people are so unenlightened. I can't stand it. Or these people are so judgmental. I can't stand it.
Yeah.
But who's being judgmental?
Yeah.
You see,
Exactly.
you're judging them for being judgmental.
Yeah.
Okay. There's the honesty. Be honest. You have to look at it and go, okay. It always comes back to me. Always. It's not other people. It's like, how am I choosing to respond to the other people, to the situation? And that's a choice I always have.
Yeah.
It's very, very simple. This is not rocket science. We think, why is it so hard to learn this? Why does everyone not know this? Because it rocks the foundation of your ego. That's why. Because it's going to undo that ego identity. And so most people don't even want to go there. They don't want to scratch the surface. They're just like, no, we put a lid on it and we just go in our normal perceptions, and we go like that till we die. It's very depressing, really. But it's like, I mean, just those ladies, like, she's drinking and vaping. I'm like, oh, you can just see where it's heading. You can see where it's going, but like, okay, that's what you're going to do. So until you wake up, that's what you're going to do, and it's not going to end well. But that's your choice. We all have choice. There's no victims in this world. Everyone's choosing all the time.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go on to number 4 then. That your mind holds only what you think with God. It's a lovely image of this, actually. So, Archie, if you want to read the original.
And yet your mind holds only what you think with God.
And yet my awareness holds only what I think with perfect love or abundance.
Your self-deceptions cannot take the place of truth.
My self-deceptions cannot take the place of truth.
No more than can a child who throws a stick into the ocean change the coming and the going of the tides, the warming of the water by the sun, the silver of the moon on it by night.
No more than can a child who throws a stick into the ocean change the coming and the going of the tides, the warming of the water by the sun, the silver of the moon on it by night.
So do we start each practice period in this review with readying our minds to understand the lessons that we read and see the meaning that they offer us?
So I start each practice period in this review with readying my mind to understand the lessons that I have read and their true meaning.
Yeah, and then from the top, Kim, an alternative.
And yet my awareness holds only what I think with perfect love or abundance. My self-deceptions cannot take the place of truth or abundance. No more than can a child who throws a stick into the ocean change the coming and the going of the tides, the warming of the water by the sun, the silver of the moon on it by night. So I start each practice period in this review with readying my mind to understand the lessons that I have read and their true meaning.
Yeah, so lovely image he's got there, which is actually reminiscent of a quote that I've shared before. Let's see if I can find it for you. I didn't have it somewhere. There we go. Let's put it into. So Archie, if you want to read that.
I do not know what I may appear to the world, but to myself I seem to have been only like a boy playing on the seashore and diverting myself in now, and then finding a smoother pebble or a prettier shell than ordinary, whilst the great ocean of truth lay all undiscovered before me. Yeah.
Isaac Newton
Mm.
said that. So very, very profound statement, very reminiscent. You wonder if Yeshua knew about this quote, because obviously he knows everything. When he mentioned, or if it's just a coincidence. But he's used Isaac Newton's used the same image that I've just been playing on the seashore when this great ocean of truth lay all undiscovered before me, and so this was his own commentary on his life's work. How's that for humility? Like, so all the Newton's laws, all the stuff that's so celebrated by scientific community, he was saying, really, like, I haven't really got it. I haven't really done much of any consequence. Because he was an alchemist as well. So he knew that there was something deeper that he hadn't really uncovered, that he hadn't really touched with those laws. That was all quite superficial. It was all about time, space, and the physical and material, and became the basis for the scientific materialist paradigm, his laws. But immediately the man who initiated those laws, who discovered them, is questioning it from the outset. And why don't they teach you that in science? That would have been fascinating.
Yeah.
To say, like, okay, let's do science differently, right? So we'll learn Newton's laws, and then let's study the man a bit. Like, what was he really about? And did you know he was an alchemist? Okay, so what's alchemy about? And let's hear what he had to say. Okay, so maybe what he was saying was that he didn't really get it, and maybe the truth that then unfolded in the 20th century, where the law of relativity, general special theory of relativity, and quantum mechanics were uncovered. He was hinting at that. He realized that this wasn't the whole picture that he'd got clearly. So why then do we believe it? Like, why? Because that's the tendency of the ego mind, isn't it? Oh, there are these laws, and I'll fixate on them, and these are now absolute truths, and I'll make these my dogma, and I'll essentially create another worldview or religion based on it, which is scientific materialism, just like every other religion, and I won't question the fundamental precepts on which it's based, even though the very founder of it was questioning these from the outset. This was, I'm not sure exactly when he wrote this, but I think it was towards the end of his life, saying, look, in review, like, I haven't really done very much. He was very, probably a bit disappointed, actually, with what he'd done, because he knew that there was more, but the world went, wow, you're amazing, and incredible, greatest scientist ever. And he didn't buy that. He was like, I know there's something much deeper, which I haven't really even scratched the surface of. So therein lies a caution. Like, okay, so you believe those laws as truth when the guy who discovered them didn't believe them as truth. That's always got to make you sort of back up and question. But do most scientists even know that he said this? Maybe not. Probably not. Because they don't study the history. They don't look holistically at it and go, okay, so let's look at Newton. Let's look at what he really thought and what he believed. Oh, okay, that's what he said about his life's work. Wow, that should make me really question, shouldn't it? Because the ego doesn't like to question. It doesn't like to go into the unknown. It likes dogma and says, okay, that's the truth. I can now double down on that truth, and that's the truth. And there's nothing else, and I'll ignore everything else to the contrary. That's exactly what happened post Newton with the development of the scientific materialist paradigm, the industrial age. People went, right, we've got a truth, away with God and all that religion stuff, because that didn't really serve us. That was the Dark Ages. we're now the Illuminati, we're now the enlightened ones, and we're going to go down this path of scientific materialism, thinking that that's the truth. And of course, it's not the truth, and so what you get is more problems, as we see with our modern world, many problems. So Yesha's making the same point here, saying that none of this is the truth, and you can't change it. Nothing you do, you throw a stick into this great ocean, it doesn't affect the ocean at all, does it? It's inconsequential to the ocean. It doesn't affect anything. So in the same way, like whatever you think you've done in your life, however bad you think you've been, that ocean of truth isn't affected at all, which is very humbling, but also very comforting. And lovely imagery as well. A bit of poetry there. I love it when he does this. That's iambic pentameter coming through. Very poetic. All right, so Kim, if you can read that little bit of the. I'll just read that whole slide actually. Your self-deceptions cannot take the place of truth.
Your self-deceptions cannot take the place of truth. No more than a child who throws a stick into the ocean change, the coming and going of the tides, the warming of the water by the sun, the silver of the moon on it by night. The tiny self-deceptive thoughts we throw into our minds cannot change our eternal, oceanic minds, which ultimately respond only to the light, warmth, and the gravitational pull of God.
Yeah, so beneath the surface, and the ocean's quite a nice analogy for truth, because beneath the surface, where everything's turbulent and you get winds and change happening all the time, beneath the surface, there's just this quiet stillness. Go 10 meters, 20 meters below the surface, even deeper into the ocean, and nothing's really changed. It's dark, it's quiet, and our minds are really in that eternal ocean of unchanging depth, and nothing we do can change that at all. That's the point he's making. All right, so let's go on to number 5 then. So let's read the alternative until we get to the main point. So there isn't actually that much to this. Is just now in instructional mode. He's saying this is how you should practice. So Archie, if you can read that, number 5, kindly.
Yeah. I will begin each day with time devoted to the preparation of my mind to learn what each idea I will review that day can offer me in peace and freedom or abundance. I open my awareness and clear it of all thoughts that deceive me, and let this thought alone engage it fully and remove the rest. My awareness holds only what I think with perfect love or abundance.
The original of that is my mind holds only what I think with God. So use whichever form works best for you. But the alternative just takes it to a deeper level, I think. So I think a lot of people with this, like, my mind holds only what I think with God. Well, I don't know how God thinks. I have no idea how God thinks. So it can be problematic if you think of God as some kind of entity outside of you. You're trying to know the mind of God, but if you change God to perfect love or abundance, well, then it's obvious. Okay, so is that a thought that perfect love would think? No, it's fearful. No, it's attacking. Okay, so then it's not a thought that I think with God. Fearful thought. Is that an abundant thought? No, it's about fear and scarcity. Okay, so that's not a thought that I think with perfect love or abundance. And so the translation matters. It makes a difference in our ability to follow the guidance, I think.
Yeah.
which is why we do it. And that's why I put in abundance as well, because so often love is helpful in relationships and so on. But let's say I'm thinking about the future. I'm going, like I'm worried I won't have enough money, etc. That is a scarcity thought, which negates abundance.
Mm.
So, like, okay, is that abundant thinking? No, it's not. I'm worried. I'm indulging in the thought of scarcity, that's going to be my reality. And of course, the more that I think about it and I worry about it, the more that becomes my reality.
Mm.
Okay, so that's not perfect love or abundance. Let it go, because my mind holds only what I think with perfect love or abundance. So there's a lot of dysfunctional thinking that is going to be cleaned up by those two terms. Perfect love, okay, so I'm judging, I'm angry, and I'm upset, I'm holding grievance. That's not perfect love. Okay, I need to let go. Abundance, I'm fearful, I'm worried. Well, why? Because you think you're not going to have enough in the future. Is that an abundant thought? No, that's a scarcity thought, clearly. So this isn't what you think with perfect love or abundance. Let it go.
Mm.
And contemplate the idea. It's kind of you're reprogramming your mind here. You're contemplating this so that you're reprogramming your thought system, your operating system. So you go into the world with this program of, it's perfect love or abundance and nothing else. And when something else comes in, which it inevitably will, notice it and use this to let it go. That's the whole point. You haven't failed when that happens. You've succeeded. That's exactly what the lesson's meant to do. So a lot of course students are like, I keep having these negative thoughts, and I'm just not getting it. My mind is full of thoughts that are not godly, and I'm failing. And no, by becoming aware of them and actually letting them go, you're succeeding. That's the whole point. And you need to do that repeatedly in order to finally awaken. All right, and then just number 4, let's read that in the original and the alternative. So Kim, if you read the original, 5 minutes with this thought. Okay, it's Kim there.
Right. Yep. Yeah, sorry, John, I was running off there. Is this
5 minutes with this thought?
5?
Yeah, number 4, yeah. Number 4 and 5.
5 minutes with this thought will be enough to set the day along the lines in which God appointed, and to place his mind in charge of all the thoughts you will receive that day.
Contemplating this thought for 5 minutes will be enough to start the day in alignment with what perfect love or abundance intends, and to allow its awareness to direct all my thoughts that day.
Yeah, so saying, go in there, set the intention, immerse yourself in this, and set yourself up for this kind of a day by practicing it in the morning. Makes sense. You kind of almost like loading a program. Okay, program in. I'm thinking only with perfect love or abundance today, and I've got to repeat that through the day to remind myself, because it's very easy to forget. Remember, you're changing your default operating system here. This is not a trivial exercise. The normal thoughts that you've thought every day for your entire life are now being questioned and undone. And so there's inevitably going to be a struggle. There's going to be some difficulty. People are like, I'm never going to get this because I keep getting these normal thoughts. But that's why perseverance is so important, of course. You've got to just persist and persist. Okay, so I just keep doing it. When I notice, I let it go. And if I keep doing that, then I'm practicing the course. As often as the negative thoughts come up, I need to let them go. And that's my whole practice. Okay. It will not come from you alone. So maybe switch it. Archie, you read the original, Kim, the alternative. Sentence by sentence. This one is quite a lot to translate.
Mm-hmm. They will not come from you alone, for they will all be shared with him.
These thoughts will not come from me alone, for they will all be shared with perfect love or abundance.
And so each one will bring the message of his love to you, returning messages of yours to him.
And so each one will bring the message of this unconditional love or abundance to me, returning messages of mine to it.
So will communion with the Lord of hosts be yours, as he himself has willed it be.
And so communion with this ultimate awareness or abundance will be mine, as it intends it to be.
And as his own completion joins with him, so will he join with you, who are complete as you unite with him, and he with you.
And as its own completion joins with itself, so it will join with me, who am complete as I unite with it, and it with me. From the top, these thoughts will not come from me alone, or they will all be shared with perfect love or abundance. And so each one will bring the message of this unconditional love, abundance to me, returning messages of mine to it. And so communion with this ultimate awareness or abundance will be mine, as it intends to be. And as its own completion joins with itself, so it will join with me, who am complete as I unite with it and it with me.
Okay, so thoughts on that?
Well, these thoughts that you share with pure formless awareness or perfect love or abundance, it'll be an unconditional love message. And it's about sharing this oneness with these messages, because the messages is about, be one. So it will be my thought or message, but it's shared with Source and all my brothers.
Yeah.
So it just basically, ultimately, we're all joined, because if we're thinking these thoughts of, with Source, they're all kind of the same thought, I guess. And,
Yeah, it's coming from the same
how we
awareness.
perceive it, yeah, it's the same thing.
You realize there's only really one awareness that underlies everything. That's the ground of being. That's the truth. That's God. And so we ultimately all share in that, which means we're all united in that. We would have no life, no being, if it weren't for that awareness. So that awareness is the truth, and everything that seems to be separate from that awareness must then be a lie. That's the simple logic. Because that one awareness can't be true at the same time as everything separate from that awareness can be true. It's one or the other. I'm either one with that awareness and there's only that awareness, or there's other awareness going on and that other awareness is true and real. Those two apparent truths contradict each other. So we have to decide which one we're going to believe in.
Jonathan, can I just ask, so again, the terminology there, Lord of Hosts, that's the first time I've come across that.
Yeah.
Is that just another term for God? Is that?
Yeah, it's the Lord of Hosts, kind of old-fashioned. I think it's might be used in the Bible, possibly. It's a biblical phrase. Lord, the Lord of Hosts. We can look it up if you want.
I was just curious. It's just the first time I've seen that.
Yeah. It's not a common, but it's got a sort of biblical ring to it. So he does this from time to time. He says, the Lord of hosts, but I personally don't really resonate with the language, because Lord has just like God does. Lord has connotations in this world of some kind of superior being who lords it over you, who commands you. And interestingly, they used the Lord very much in the Middle Ages. There wasn't an accident to that, because that mimicked the social structure where you had, the lords of the manor and so on, who would lord it over literally all the peasants. And so, you needed to obey the Lord, i.e., in heaven, but also on earth. So very sort of medieval terminology, I think. Whereas how I translated it, so communion with the Lord of hosts. So communion with this ultimate awareness or abundance, so Lord of hosts versus ultimate awareness or abundance. It's a very different feel to it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it connects you in with a transcendent awareness. You've got abundance in there. Okay, so this is something that is within me. It's awareness. It's pointing me. Remember, words are just pointers to the truth. So they just point us to the experience that brings us the truth. And so we want good pointers. Ideally, pointers should point you in the right direction, not the wrong direction. Otherwise, not a very good pointer or signpost. So that's all it is. When people start getting caught up in terminology, or you've changed the original terminology, that was only ever a pointer itself. It was only ever illusory itself. It's not ultimate truth. So, if another pointer works better, then use that. That's my view. But when people get to what happens in a lot of religions and so on, maybe happen to an extent in the Course community, people get too caught up in the language, and they go, oh, that can't be touched, that can't be changed, it's sacred, etc. Even though it's only 50 odd years old now, that inevitably starts happening. You see over generations how that would then create something like the Bible and a whole religion based on it, because people just say, oh, well, that's the word of God, and we accept it, and we're not willing to question it or change it. And so then it becomes formalized and crystallized, and it can't really move on. This is where things get stuck then in the same repetitive patterns of thought, which can just be shaken up and changed by just changing the language. As simple as that. And then people have a different view of it. All right. Does that answer the question, Archie?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
All right. So let's go to number 7 then. After your preparation, who's going to read the original?
Okay. After your preparation, merely read each of the 2 ideas assigned to you to be reviewed that day.
After my preparation, I will merely read each of the 2 ideas assigned to me to be reviewed that day.
Then close your eyes and say them slowly to yourself.
Then I close my eyes and say them slowly to myself.
There is no hurry now, for you are using time for its intended purpose.
There is no hurry now, for I am using time for its intended purpose.
Let each word shine with the meaning God has given.
I let each word shine with the meaning perfect love or abundance has given it, as it was given to me through its voice.
Let each idea which you review that day give you the gift that He has laid in it for you to have of Him.
I allow each idea which I review that day to give me the gift that it has prepared for me through the lesson.
And we will use no formal for our practicing but this.
And I will use only this format for my practicing.
Format, okay.
Right, so from the top, after my preparation, I will merely read each of the 2 ideas assigned to me to be reviewed that day. Then I close my eyes and say them slowly to myself. There is no hurry now, for I am using time for its intended purpose. I let each word shine with the meaning perfect love or abundance has given it, as it was given to me through its voice. I allow each idea which I review that day to give me the gift that it has prepared for me through the lesson. And I will use only this format for my practicing.
Comments on that?
Well, it's just giving instructions. So, yeah.
That's how we should practice. So he does that quite often in this course, particularly in these reviews. So, okay, so it's not just the ideas, but the way that you're going to practice is also important. So essentially, instruction and meditation.
Yeah.
That he's giving us. So the entire workbook is actually a meditation practice, but it's a different kind of meditation from, say, other more Eastern versions of meditation, where the goal is just to quiet your mind. And there's a reason for that. I think he's designed this course this way because the Western mind is very active. It's a very busy mind. He knows that. So to just say, well, just go into being and don't think is very hard for the average Western mind to do. It's very, very busy with thoughts. So saying, okay, so let's take this power of thought that you're using so much, but let's redirect it and use your thoughts constructively instead of negatively. And so you're going to be thinking, but you're going to be thinking right-mindedly, which ultimately is an illusion, but it's an illusion that at least points you in the right direction. As you're going in the right direction towards the ultimate truth that is beyond the signposts. So I think very cleverly done. Remember, he's designed it for his audience. It was done in New York City, not in the Himalayas. So clearly, the mind is very active. The mind's very busy. He needs to address people where they are. And he knew that that's, where Western civilization is. And interesting that he chose to give it in the very heart of that civilization, in New York City. There's no accident in that. It wasn't given in a cave in the Himalayas or something, precisely because it was needed in the hustle and bustle of this crazy world that we've created in the middle of one of the busiest cities on the planet. That was where it was most needed, and so that's where it was given. So brilliant! I think a combination of meditation with cognitive behavioral therapy, thinking correctly, just doing it in a way that the average person who's very attached to the mind and thinking can actually do this, and start to use their mind constructively, and gradually as they do that, the thinking mind will lessen, and you will find periods of peace and quiet and but the thinking isn't really a problem if it's right-minded thinking.
Yeah.
As long as you're thinking right-mindedly, it's okay. It's giving us permission to think. Some of the Eastern paths are like, don't think. All thought must be extinguished. That's very, very challenging to undertake to start with. Ultimately, yes, that will be the case. All thought, as we think of thought, dualistic, subject, object, thought, all of that is going to be extinguished in the ultimate awareness. But where you are is very far from that. Where you are is you're thinking all the time. And very difficult not to think in this world. You think, how do you function in a world that is so mind-oriented without thinking? Virtually impossible. So we have to think. We must just do it right-mindedly with this perfect love or abundance guiding that thinking. And, that's what he's dedicated his course to training us to do. Okay, and then just number 8, some more instructions. So just read the alternative. Very simple. Kim, if you can read that.
I'll remind myself of the main thought with which the day began every hour throughout the day and spend a quiet moment reflecting on it. Then I will repeat the 2 ideas to practice for that day unhurriedly, spending enough time to experience the gifts that they contain for me and allow them to be received where they are meant to be.
Yeah, it's again just instructions for practicing. He's saying essentially take it easy, relax, there's no hurry. Start to just allow the practice periods to just unfold. You can kind of dwell on them, you don't have to rush them. All of that is part of the practice. It sort of doesn't make any sense to say I'm doing spiritual practice, but I've got to rush it. Because then there's the ego right there saying time is the essence. You've only got 2 minutes for this. So you spend enough time to experience the benefits. That might only be 30 seconds or a minute. If you connect with the idea, you feel the experience, great, maybe that's enough. You did it in a minute, but maybe it'll stimulate something else comes up and you end up spending a few minutes in it. That's also okay. It's all part of the experience you're meant to have. So basically, don't rush it, don't force it. Just allow. It's part of the letting go process. Allow this to kind of unfold without having to rush it and force it and control it, because that's all ego. So you can learn to let go in the way that you practice, as well as through the actual lessons, through the actual words themselves. Okay, so that's the last one. No, there's number 10 as well. So 2 more to go. So Archie, if you can read that, just read in the alternative, because the only thing to translate here is Father and Him become source and it.
I will add no other thoughts, but let these be the simple messages they are. I need no more than this to bring me happiness and rest, endless quiet, perfect certainty, and all my source of abundance wills that I receive as my inheritance from it. I will close the review every day as I began, first repeating the thought that made the day a special time of blessing and happiness for me, and through my faithfulness restored the world from negative negative awareness to true awareness, from grief to joy, from pain to peace, and from sin to innocence.
Yeah, thoughts on that? What's he saying there?
Yeah, I think it's quite sort of sorry. Yeah, so just sort of contemplate on the 2 thoughts that were mentioned earlier on. So no need to add any other thoughts, and that's enough in order to bring me happiness and peace and quiet. And then to close the review in the same way that you started, by repeating the thought for that day. Yeah.
And there's a transformation from negative awareness to true awareness, from grief to joy, from pain to peace, and from sin to innocence. So the power of one thought, if you just followed this guidance, if you just practiced this lesson, you would become enlightened. Just this. My mind holds only what I think with God, or my awareness holds only what I think with perfect love or abundance. And you practice that vigilantly, moment by moment, day by day. You would slowly but surely eliminate all the thoughts that weren't coming from perfect love or abundance. And you would be thinking only those thoughts. The process might take years. But just this one practice, this one exercise they're giving us to do in 10 lessons could awaken you. That's how powerful it is. Thing of the danger is we kind of go, oh, well, just another lesson. But each one of these lessons has the power to take you to full awakening. We realize that. Very easy to forget. So I think what we got to try and do is, if something's really meaningful, like this is a particularly meaningful lesson, try and maintain it beyond the time that it's in the course. Try and my awareness holds only what I think with God. That's a very, very useful thought to think, to remain vigilant of your own thoughts and help you let go of those that are simply not true. Okay, so last one, number 10. God offers thanks to you. So, Karen, I'm not sure whose turn it is. I don't you read the original and then I'll read the alternative.
Oh, okay. I'll read the alternative then, sorry.
Okay.
God offers thanks to you who practice thus the keeping of his word.
Pure formless awareness of perfect love or abundance will give me an expanded experience when I practice receiving its message like this.
And as you give your mind to the ideas for the day, again before you sleep, his gratitude surrounds you in the peace wherein he wills you be forever, and are learning now to claim again as your inheritance.
And as I hold ideas for the day in my awareness again before I sleep, its gratitude will surround me in the peace it wants me to experience forever. And I am learning now to claim again as my inheritance. And from the top, pure formless awareness of perfect love or abundance will give me an expanded experience when I practice receiving its message like this. And as I hold the ideas for the day in my awareness again before I sleep, its gratitude will surround me in the peace it wants me to experience forever. And I am learning now to claim again as my inheritance.
Okay, summary of that.
So, I mean, when practicing, this is what's saying will be our experience. It's going to be an expanded experience. You receive this message. It'll be a feeling of peace. You'll feel grateful or have gratitude. You'll feel a sense of peace. And you'll be surrounded by it. So it's all encompassing. And it wants you to always feel this. It wants you to always and forever have this experience.
Yeah, it does. So only you can block that. that peace, that love, that joy, that gratitude is always there, but only you can block it out. So if you decide you're not grateful because your expectations aren't met, then that's your choice. You've decided to block it out and focus on something else. Which is why these principles are so important. When we're letting go of expectations and grievances is essential. You can't be grateful when you're full of expectations and grievances. So this practice of being aware of those thoughts, negative thoughts, expectations, grievances, judgments, bringing them into this awareness of the truth and letting them go is essential. And you have to start doing that by default, day in, day out, moment by moment. That's the practice. You might say, oh, that's a lot of work. Yeah, maybe. Requires vigilance, requires discipline, yeah. But what's the alternative? If you just allow those thoughts to continue unchallenged, what's the consequence of that? Where's that going to lead you in your life? You only have to look at people who are still very egoic and they've aged. It's not a pretty picture at all. That's where you go. So it's the pain of growth, the vigilance. Yes, there's a discipline. You have to put some effort into it, or there's the pain of just an endless suffering where there's no hope because you won't change your mind. Such is the choice we all face. Okay, so that's the introduction. Nice introduction to the next 10 lessons. So I'd suggest you read it again. Ideally, read it every day. Just remind yourself of what he said here. There's some actually quite profound stuff in here. And then move on to practicing the lesson, which is very short, just 3 key ideas. Okay, so let's do that now, shall we? And then we'll go into the med.
My mind awareness holds only what I think with God, or perfect love, abundance.
Yeah, so that's the key idea. And then Archie, if you can read the next one. So that's the central idea. You're going to get that every day, and then you're going to get 2 lessons to review underneath that.
Forgiveness is the key to happiness.
Letting go is the key to happiness.
Forgiveness offers everything I want.
Letting go offers everything I want.
Yeah, so 2 very, very simple ideas, just a few words, saying that letting go is key to our happiness, and it's going to offer us everything we want. Very simple ideas, but these are not normal ideas, are they? Were you taught this at school? Did your parents teach you this?
Yep.
Not at all. Probably the opposite. They taught you many other things were the key to happiness, but not letting go, didn't they? And they didn't say letting go offers you everything that you want. They said, no, you need a career, you need a job, you need money, and you need to find a partner. That's going to offer you everything you want. That's what we're told. These are illusions of the ego, which again are normal. This is default in society, and most people don't question it. This is saying, no, that's all wrong. Only this deep letting go is going to work. Only this is going to offer you what you want. So you want a fulfilled, happy life, start letting go. The sooner you do that, the more likely you are to be happy. In practice, we only tend to learn this in the middle of our lives. We like tell a teenager the key to happiness is letting go. They're probably going to look at you like, what? Right, you old fogey, no. Happiness is in my friends and in my, whatever I want to do in my music and my partying, and that's where they've got to go and experience it and learn for themselves that happiness doesn't lie there. It's the only way they'll learn. Generally, that takes 10, 20 years, and then some point in your middle of your life, if you're questioning, you start going, well, hang on, what's going on here? Like, I was promised happiness, and if I'm honest, I'm still not happy, and I'm now 40 something, and like I'm really actually dissatisfied with my life. So what's the deal? How do I ever find happiness? And only then are you ready for a teaching like this. It says, oh, okay. So, well, this is interesting. This is completely different from what I've learned up to this point. Letting go is the key to my happiness. Wow. Okay. I hadn't thought of it that way before. Such a simple idea, really. These are simple ideas, but these are going to rock your world. They're so profound when you accept them. Okay, so there's a meditation on it. So we'll dive into that, shall we? Any other thoughts that we can discuss it a bit, since there are only 3 ideas to discuss? Any thoughts, comments, or questions on any of those ideas?
Let go.
Yeah.
Just let go. Just let go of everything.
Yeah.
So easy.
Yeah. Conceptually, very easy, but to do it isn't that easy.
Yeah.
What does let go of everything mean? People are like, well, okay, so I've still got a life, I've still got responsibilities. What am I supposed to go shave my head and become a Buddhist monk or something? Go in a monastery. Is that what letting go? Well, it's one version of letting go. But maybe there's another way of doing it. Maybe you can let go while you still engage in those things. Maybe actually that's more practical and maybe even more powerful, because then you've got to deal with these things as they arise. And so there's your spiritual practice. Your life becomes your spiritual practice. You're not running away to a monastery to become enlightened. You're saying, I'm going to do it right here, right now, in the normal experiences of daily life. But those are my teachers. So I don't need to run away from those. I just need to welcome them as what they are, forgiveness lessons. And that I think is the power of this teaching. Is explicitly saying, don't go and do that. He says at some point in the text. He says, yes, you could 20 years in deep meditation, and maybe you'd get there because of the purpose behind it. But he said the means are tedious and slow. This isn't the way this course sets forth. So specifically saying that path isn't actually for you, and it's not necessarily the quickest way. Quickest way is actually to face all of the stuff that comes up in your life and let it go. Let go of the thoughts and emotions that it brings up. That's the quickest way. And if you're living in the world and you're engaging in daily life with most people who are not awakened, you're going to get all of those lessons. You're going to get all of those triggers that bring up your negativity, your unhappiness, to show you it, and then you get the chance to let it go, which offers you everything you want beyond it. But you've got to let it go first. You can't shortcut. So I want eternal bliss and happiness, but I'm not willing to let go of my misery and unhappiness. Obviously, that's not going to work. So really, really simple, really, really profound. And you don't actually need anything more than those key ideas. That's an interesting thing. So there are whole lessons behind them. You go back to the original. But just those key ideas held in mind are profound in themselves. By contemplating them in their short form, something else can arise that maybe didn't when you did the original lesson. And the interesting thing is, do you even remember doing this lesson? Probably not.
No, I don't actually.
It was only 20 days ago, but
Yeah, was it really?
yeah, because every 20 lessons he reviews.
Oh, right,
So
okay.
this was lesson 121, 122. So it was 20 days ago. We're now on 41. So 20 days ago, so 3 weeks ago, but you've forgotten it already.
I have, because I've been
So
contemplating.
that's why you need to review it.
I know, because
That's why
I've
I'm
been
saying, well,
contemplating on the
let's
sickness
review.
lessons.
Yeah.
So,
So let's go back and revisit the last 20 lessons and remind yourself of these key ideas. I mean, we kind of already know this. If you studied the course to this point, yeah, there's some awareness that forgiveness is the way. This is what you've got to do. But he's got to remind us of it. He's got to keep reminding us of it because it's very easy to forget it, isn't it?
Because I don't remember at all.
Very easy to misplace your identification. Say, well, I'm unhappy now because this didn't happen, and we get focused on the form and the expectation and trying to change things on the level of form, and then you've forgotten that letting go is the key to happiness. See? It's very easy to do that. We all do it from time to time. So we need to keep reminding ourselves. Okay, so the only thing that I need to do in this situation is let go, and that's the key to my happiness, and it's going to bring me everything I want. So I don't need to do anything else. This is Pandora's box. This is what's going to open everything that I really want up to my awareness. It might not happen overnight, but if I keep practicing this in time, these gifts of God will be revealed. Peace, love, joy, happiness, even bliss, perhaps. All of this will come because I've let go of everything that denies that. So if I let go of everything that blocks that, then logically, there would only be this left. So very, very simple, but very, very profound. And that's how the course is. These ideas are so simple, just a few words, but very, very profound, very powerful. Each of them, as I said, has the power to awaken you completely. Letting go is the key to happiness. If you really embrace that, then just let go. Just keep letting go of whatever troubles you, whatever's negative, or whatever's seemingly problematic. Just keep letting it go. And that's all you have to do because that offers you everything you want. There's nothing else you have to do. So you've got one simple thing you've got to learn, one essential skill to master your life, to be happy, to give you everything you want. Why is everyone not rushing to learn the skill? Interesting, isn't it? Why is everyone not here? Like, why do we have 3 people? Well, because it challenges people. It just challenges their key identity, which is unhappy. It's the dissatisfied self. So they say they want happiness, but they don't want to let go of the self that's unhappy. Well, logically, that's not going to work, is it? How can I have happiness if I'm attached to my unhappy self? It's not going to work. The logic is so clear and simple. And yet it needs to be pointed out to us, doesn't it? Because when it's pointed out to us, then we acknowledge it, we remember it, consciously aware of it. By contemplating, meditating on it, these things start to become inculcated into our thought system, into our operating system. And that's what he's trying to do. Because the ideas themselves are very simple. But to really accept them and to understand what they really mean is a process. when you start with the course, you can read these things. Yeah, you get it on one level, but do you really get it? Do you really get the depth of what he's saying? Probably not. It's going to take you many more years to do that. But it's a start. Every time you do the lesson, it's another layer uncovered. And then you do the lesson again, these same lessons next year, and you go, oh, I don't remember those. I've forgotten those. It's like you have to relearn it again. It's this amnesia. It's like we're goldfish in a goldfish bowl swimming around, and we forget every year. So you can just practice the course endlessly. You can do the workbook lessons over and over because you're going to forget. That's like perennial. And you come out, oh, I don't remember this lesson, but you did it last year and the year before and the year before. And yet it doesn't matter because right now the lesson has a fresh experience. It offers you an experience right now. So you can never really get tired of them, even though the words are the same, the ideas are the same. It's what the experience brings you in your meditation. And I can guarantee you do one meditation on this year on it, you'll have a different experience the next time you do it. It's not going to be exactly the same. You'll have some differences, whatever's arising for you at that time. That's what will arise, and the lesson will speak to that. And then, sometimes you can have an epiphany. One year you could go, wow, that's just so amazing, the most amazing lesson. It's really blown my mind. And the previous year you didn't really even clock it. It was just like a normal lesson. You weren't ready for that level of realization. So that's why we just make it your practice and just do the lessons and just keep doing it every year, because you just never know what's going to happen with any one lesson. And the more you do it, the more this thought system becomes a default. You're just like, yeah, I just understand it. Just like you understood your previous ego thought system. It was the default. You just kind of got it. Now you just get this because you've immersed yourself in so much. You've gone over it over and over and over again. You've practiced it for 10, 20 years. It just becomes, yeah, well, like by default, yes, I know I need to forgive. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I still have resistance to that, but I know at least what I need to do. There's no question in my mind as to what the right course of action is, which is very helpful. I've just got to do it. Most people are lost. They don't know what to do. They don't know if they should be letting go, or they should be attaching, or they should be trying to solve their problem on a level of form. They're all at sea, and then they look to the world for answers. And there's many worldly answers, but none of them are going to work to bring you happiness or to give you everything you truly want. They'll just give you what you think you want. And then when you get there, you'll realize, no, that's not what I really wanted. What I really wanted was just to be happy. Could call it happiness or peace, love or joy. It doesn't really matter what term that's all I really wanted. But I thought that this person, thing, achievement, accomplishment, possession, substance, whatever, would bring me the happiness that I yearned for. That's what you thought. And that was the ego's lie. Because that's just not true. Only letting go is going to do that, because letting go connects you with your true self. Okay, so very short lesson, but very profound. Shall we go into some practice of it then? Let's do a meditation on it.
Give me 2 minutes for nature break.
No problem. I'll get set up. We'll wait for you. Share. Okie dokie, are we ready?
Yes.
Okay, let's see if Kim's there. Kim, you around? Not yet.
I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
All right, all good. So, what are we, 8:13? So, shall we just end it with this? I don't think we
Yeah.
probably have
Yep, that would
Yeah.
capacity for text,
No.
do we?
No.
no.
I feel like another 2 hours of text. Probably not.
Oh, I
No,
should get an early night.
yeah, what's interesting though is how much you can get out of a simple introduction if you go deep into it. Like there's so much that can be gleaned from it, and we've spent a couple of hours discussing because it's the ideas that it's pointing to. All of this is pointing to the truth. All right, so let us go for it then. Just going to start the recording. Okay, so just making yourselves comfortable. Sitting comfortably with your feet shoulder width apart, your back straight. Cup your hands in your lap, close your eyes. Start off by taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. Breathing in, notice how the stomach rises and chest rises. Subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Pause at the top of the inhale. Smile, scan your mind. Notice any thoughts, feelings, emotions going on there. And bring to mind a central idea for this review lesson. My mind or awareness holds only what I think with God or perfect love or abundance. So my mind holds only what I think with God, breathe in on that, or if you prefer the alternative, my awareness holds only what I think with perfect love or abundance. And just breathe that into every pore, every cell, every muscle of your body, every part of your mind. Every fiber of your being. And just rest, contemplate this idea for a few minutes. Scan your mind. Again, breathe in and observe any thoughts that are not coming from perfect love or abundance. So a fear thought, scared about the future, that's not an abundant thought. It's not coming from perfect love or abundance. Maybe there's a grievance towards someone. You're angry, you're resentful. Notice that and say, is that perfect love? Is that unconditional love, or is it a grievance? But remind yourself that my mind holds only what I think with perfect love or abundance. So this thought cannot be real. Therefore, I can let it go. So exhale. Exhale, just blow it out. The breeze of your breath. To the nothingness that it really is. Like a dark cloud or black smoke leaving you. It's going, gone. Pull the lower stomach into the spine. Expel the last remaining air out. And just rest for a few moments in this perfect love or abundance, in this loving awareness. This is what your forgiveness or your letting go offers you. Just let go of some of the blocks to the awareness of love's presence. And this is the key to happiness. Nothing else is really going to work. So just review honestly all the things that you thought would bring you happiness in the past. So you continue to watch your breath, breathing in and out. Nice. Deep, slow, rhythmical breath in and out through your nose. Maybe you thought a relationship would bring you happiness. Maybe a new job, wealth. Think of the many things in your life that maybe you thought would bring you happiness. Now ask yourself honestly, did any of these really work? Did they bring me lasting happiness? Am I really satisfied having pursued these things? Even if you temporarily got some of them, maybe you pursued an achievement and you achieved it. Maybe you wanted a new job and you got it. Maybe you saved up money for something special that you wanted to buy, and you did that. But did it last? Was that happiness lasting? Did it bring you endless fulfillment? Fulfillment that would never dissipate. Did it offer you everything you want? Which is our second key idea for review. Forgiveness offers everything I want. Letting go offers everything I want. So letting go is the key to happiness. Letting go offers everything I want. So put those two together. Letting go is the key to happiness, which is all that I really want. Do you really want to be anything else but happy? When you put it that way, it becomes seemingly obvious. That sometimes the obvious is obscure to us in our ego worlds, our normal perceptions are fake and false. So the obvious needs to be pointed out. We need to learn this obvious truth. And so that's what you're doing today. So opening your mind to learning the truth, learning what you really are. So let's review. Repeat the central idea. The mind holds only what I think with God. My awareness holds only what I think with perfect love. Concentrate on the single idea. Repeat it to yourself again. And let it alone fill your awareness. Mind holds only what I think with God. My awareness holds only what I think with perfect love. Abundance. I have a feeling of tuning in to that part of your mind where all your thoughts come from God. All your thoughts now repeat the two key ideas to yourself in this field of awareness you cultivated, the awareness of the truth. Invited only true ideas to come in. Say forgiveness, forgiveness is the key to happiness. Letting go is the key to happiness. Say slowly to yourself, forgiveness is the key to happiness, or letting go is the key to happiness. Letting go is the key to my happiness. Say very slowly to yourself, letting go is the key to my happiness. Find yourself that forgiveness or letting go offers everything that I want. You say this idea very slowly to yourself. anger offers everything I want. Happiness, peace, love, joy. And let each word shine with the meaning God has given it. Breathe in, close your eyes, embrace. And so sink inwards. Just go into your mind, go deeper into the deeper awareness that these words point you to. Remember, they are not the truth, they're just signposts or pointers to the truth. But let each word point you. Nowhere else to go, nothing else to do. Just breathe, relax, and be still. Sink inwards to the stillness, to the peace of God that surpasses all understanding. Let each word shine with the meaning that God, or this ultimate awareness, has given it. Any thoughts come up to seemingly disturb this deep peace, just apply the key idea. My mind holds only what I think with God, or my awareness holds only what I think with perfect love or abundance, to whatever you're thinking. And if it's not in alignment, it's clearly out of line. Just let go of whatever worry, doubt, fear, disbelief, whatever form that takes. I see my mind holds only what I think with God. My mind holds only what my awareness holds only what I think with perfect love or abundance. Nowhere else to go, nothing else to do. Just breathe, relax, and let the breath just help you surrender into God, into this divine field of perfect love, perfect loving awareness. thoughts come up trying to distract you, just remind yourself of the key idea. It's my mind, or awareness goes only what I think of God and perfect love or abundance. Feels most appropriate, use it, and then breathe in on that to accept the truth fully. And just sinking in, going deeper and deeper with each breath into this loving awareness, this love or abundance beyond all these illusions. Let go of any thoughts that block this love or abundance. Blow them away with the breeze of your breath. Nothing else to do, nowhere else to go, nothing else to think about, just surrender to the experience for a few minutes of deep silence. So just gently coming back from this deep connected state into an awareness of your body and the breath, senses and the world. And on the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. So 1, just breathe in. There's the stomach rise, the chest rise, subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Again, at the top of the inhale, just scan your mind. As you review thoughts and emotions going on there, remind yourself that my mind holds only what I think with God, or perfect love, or abundance. So anything that's not loving, anything that's about scarcity and lack and limitation, this is not a thought of God, not a thought that comes from perfect love or abundance, so let it go. With the help of your breath, just breathe it out. Exhale out through your mouth. So that's what counts at 2. Notice how air flows out of the mouth, chest and the stomach subside. You notice a subtle flow of energy flowing down one channel of your body to rest in your lower stomach and your groin. There's the weight of your body pressing down into the chair, your feet touching the ground. There's what you're feeling and touching. There's a subtle taste in your mouth, a smell in your nose. Notice all that. Notice what you're hearing in the surrounding environment. Just noticing all these things. In this very still, calm, and surrendered state. State of mind without illusions, in which only the truth is true. Remind yourself of this truth. And once more reviewing today's 2 lessons. Forgiveness is the key to happiness, or letting go is the key to happiness. And forgiveness offers everything I want. Letting go offers everything I want. So it is said, so it is done. And one more time, remind yourself that my mind or awareness holds only what I think with God or perfect love or abundance. And so it is. So be it. Amen. So on the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. Just take a minute to look around. Just noticing those objects in the room. This very clear, unattached way. So there's no mental commentary or judgment about what you're seeing or touching, tasting, hearing, perceiving in any way. It's just clear, calm, underlying awareness. This is the awareness in which your happiness is guaranteed. This is the awareness that letting go reveals. This is the awareness that holds only what you think with God or perfect love or abundance. This perfect, loving, abundant awareness is the truth of who you really are. So just notice that, feel this awareness, connect with it. anchor the state in. So this is the state you want to stay in for the rest of the day, the rest of the evening, and on into the rest of your week. So it is said, so it is done. Amen. And that should set you up probably for a very peaceful sleep. So that brings us to the end of the meditation and tonight's session.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Thanks, Jono. Thank you.
Only a pleasure.
All right.
I will see you again at some point in the week. Should we do Wednesday? Does Wednesday work?
I can't do Wednesday and Thursday. Yeah, actually, this week's a bit.
Okay, we've done one session. Archie, what works for you? I probably got football on Thursday.
Yeah,
we do Wednesday?
Yeah, Wednesday's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Could we make it 6 o'clock?
Yeah.
On Wednesday.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Wednesday at 6.
Yeah.
Okay, I will see you then.
Okay, great.
Kim, I'll see you next week sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah, have a good week, Kim.
Yeah, you have a good week.
Yeah.
Enjoy the session. Okay,
Thank
have
you.
a good session.
Yeah.
Okay, namaste.
Okay.
Bye.
Yeah, namaste.
Thanks for joining.
Bye.
Namaste. Bye for now.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Okay, so that is a wrap for today. If you enjoyed that session, then why not hit the subscribe button? You'll be notified whenever I go live, which is a couple of times a week. So you can live stream it, or you can catch the recording in your own time. You could also go to lifecalled.com. You can see that in the background, or there's a link below in the comments box of this video, and sign up to my Telegram group. You need to make sure that you've got Telegram installed on your mobile device. If you don't, it's a free messaging app. Just search for Telegram in the App Store or the Google Play Store, depending on whether you use an Android or an Apple phone. Install it and go lifecall.com, and you can just sign up very easily there. Do that, and I'll add you to the group, and you'll receive every day a daily inspirational quote, some comments on it, a blog post, and some messages related to that, a daily mind training lesson from A Course in Miracles, as you saw today, often some other stuff, maybe a discussion session or a bonus video. Sometimes I'll share movies, and you get at least one meditation, sometimes more, to meditate on the lesson for the day, to really practice it. So all really good, helpful mind training stuff. It's all free, and invitations to join these live sessions, which again, you can do free for the first 3 weeks. So head over to lifecall.com, sign up, and I hope to see you in the group and maybe in one of these live sessions soon. So thank you for watching or listening, and namaste. Which means the truth in me acknowledges and honors that same truth in you. We wish you much love, peace, and joy in that truth. See you soon.